Hello, this is PV Flower. Today I'll be talking about the art of not doing, a UG Krishnamurti perspective. Are you tired of striving and always doing? What if the key to a fulfilling life lies in non-doing? Let's explore the radical philosophy of UG Krishnamurti and discover a different way of being. And to do so, you must first forget everything you think you know about action and inaction. Because UG Krishnamurti's perspective on non-doing will challenge your assumptions and might offer a liberating new view of life. Now, UG Krishnamurti's life after calamity was a life dedicated to truth as is. His unconventional approach to spirituality, his philosophy of questioning the nature of reality and self-importance was in itself radical. It stood against the conventional spiritual leaders. Here's an interesting conversation between UG Krishnamurti and Mahesh Bhatt that I found online. I will leave the link in the description box. It is something that Mahesh Bhatt witnessed when a grief-stricken father whose son had died met UG. After a lot of back and forth, this is how the conversation went. UG said, money is not only for buying food. There is so much there, referring to a tree outside, that I don't require money for. The tree either belongs to the person who owns this property or to the state. I can satisfy my hunger by eating that fruit. Why are you denying me that? Why do I have to work? So Mahesh Bhatt said, but I love working. So UG responded, your love for work is fine, but let me have the fruit for myself. So UG is saying that the whole system is to make people run for money. But money is not needed to feed anyone. And we all know that. It is perhaps because some people love to work, like Mahesh Bhatt does, and they've figured others should as well. Now, just because you love to work, I'm also supposed to work. Why? Just because you feel worthless by not doing anything, I'm also supposed to prove my worth by doing something? In many developed countries where people claim Social Security or government aid, the tax-paying citizens are not too happy about it. Rightly so. But here's the thing. You are working to stay above the poverty line. I'm talking about the tax-paying citizens. Some don't care, or they just can't rise above it. They got a shitty start, or they lost everything and are now at the bottom. And the government has plans to keep everyone afloat, mainly because their vote counts. And on a given vote, it doesn't tell if you are homeless, or you have a job, or you don't have a job, or you're a billionaire or a millionaire. It doesn't matter. It's a vote. Every vote counts. You just need to be a given country's citizen. And it is marketed as not being about the vote. It is about equality and helping everyone out because we are all human beings. Okay? A country cannot operate like a business. You have to think about everyone. You can't be looking at only the benefits. And of course, if you run harder, you have more than the one that's not doing anything. So, stop whining about the subsidized program and free shelter and food for the homeless and people below poverty line because you don't want to be there. There is another thing during election and also after that, the government uses poverty statistics to create policies and programs to improve infrastructure, create jobs. And this looks good on their portfolio and it gives them something to do. Not that they don't have anything to do, they have a lot to do, but this is the easiest thing to do. They can claim we created, 30,000 jobs. And what kind of jobs are these? They could be the ones that pay minimum wage. That bit remains in the fine print. And the population that does not do much or doesn't do anything survives through such government programs. So the core concept of non-doing requires challenging the conventional wisdom. It was something UG did as well. He challenged the conventional wisdom. We are raised to think we must work to make it. But non-doing says you can still make it. Of course, if you work, you will be above poverty line. If you are non-doing, you could be below it. But you're still going to survive. And UG often talked about the illusion of action. It is when you are made to think you have to do something to get validation or, attract positive attention, or it could be to fix things that are broken in our lives, or which we are made to think that are broken in our lives. Illusion of action as it relates to UG in terms of you is about the self, Since you are the illusion and not what's out there, like UG said, everything we do is to strengthen this you. And this you or the self is a product of thought. And so it is for thought continuation. Even our greatest quest for awareness and enlightenment ends up strengthening the thought. Inaction, therefore, is better than trying too hard to become aware or to achieve the natural state that UG was in. Because all you are engaging in is illusion of action, and it doesn't help, because he said that doing something is not going to help you achieve that. It is just something that happens. But if we take our practical life, because, we are not enlightened, we are not aware, we are not in natural state. So if we take our practical lives, all our actions are driven by desires and fears. Because, as Yuji said, we don't ever act. There is no pure action anymore. We have to face the consequences of our reactions as per the rules of society we live in. Let's take some real life examples of actions driven by desires and fears. Actually, if you take any action or anything that you do, you will see that it's all driven by desires and fears. The most basic one is, studying or going to school. You are either fearful of your parents or you truly want to gain education to make better living. It's either desire or fear. Drinking 8 glasses of water per day. That's another thing. I mean, one should drink water when they are thirsty. The need should arise from the body. But the way we are conditioned, the way our lives are, we don't even know what real hunger or real thirst feels like. Maybe thirst we do. The pleasure movement dominates our conduct all the time. We always want to feel good, and we do things for that, for the pleasure movement, and not to fulfill the innate need of our body, which is, by the way, innate and only innate in the thought realm. Effortless action in relation to non-doing is not about passivity, but about aligning with the natural flow of life. Anything in thought realm is unrelated to natural flow of life. It is against it. It is about fitting in with society, because we have this fear of losing out and desire of achieving more than we have. Am I condemning fear and desires? No, I'm explaining non-doing. And if someone is exercising it, please leave them alone. If they are below poverty line, please leave them alone. A question comes to mind. Do we have the power to glimpse beyond the mind's grip and get acquainted with the power of observation? I feel we lack this fundamental quality. Rather, we've suppressed it. UG had said we don't listen ever. The only goal anyone has when they're in the company of others is to convert the others to their point of view, or to know if they are like them. This means we want to talk. We want to undock the garbage we have within us, like I'm doing right now. The power of observation requires non-doing, but the mind creates the illusion of control, and in turn, it creates unnecessary stress. We want to control everything. We want to dominate every narrative. We want endorsement. We want validation. And for that, we have to make our presence felt. more than exploring the idea of being present. We are truly never present anywhere. If you are, you will see the fierce pace at which nature operates. Even in a very calm setting, if you just sit there and observe everything around you, you will see that. And only by non-doing can we bring awareness to the here and now. By being present, we will realize there is no present moment. Life is passing at an insane pace. That's why I feel humans have done this before. They have come to this realization before and have come to this realization that we have no role in the big picture. And thought won't have it, making us set up goals to find meaning in a life that seriously has none. Only the power of observation can help us see our thoughts and emotions separate from the body. Now, many will tell you that one can experience life more authentically by observing, and you can also detach from thoughts and emotions. I don't think so. I don't think that's possible. Of course, confirmation bias will make you feel you have, but you have to understand that validation that you have achieved something is a thought-driven activity. The body is not looking for validation from anything or anyone, as it is autonomous. It does not separate itself from the surroundings. We are the one doing that. I'd say do not get caught up in the gimmick of stop doing and start being, because you'd be disappointed if you go in without the mindset that it is a temporary relief by fooling yourself. Then by all means, go ahead. Personally, the art of acceptance, letting go of expectations, is a better choice. But before you do that, know yourself. Get to know yourself properly. You could be an aspiring individual, a high flyer. If that is your normal, if you're not yet burnt out, then you will be frustrated by letting go. Non-doing is not for you. You are too attached in the worldly affairs we live in. UG did it because there was no other choice for him. He was flowing with the life. That was his natural state. What I mean is that acceptance allows us to move beyond the pursuit of happiness and embrace the reality of life in its entirety. Can you accept that you are not meant to be the richest man in the world, or woman, or they, them, or whatever other pronouns are there? Can you accept that you are only meant to buy a 2-bedroom home on a high-rise, which is not a penthouse? It is a good exercise that will help you know yourself better. You cannot keep desiring and then feel bad when you don't achieve your absurd goals, or you cannot let go of everything and then feel bad about letting go. If you embrace non-doing, it can lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. If you are one of those, if you have known yourself well, and if you are one of those who are not high flyers, who are not caught up in the worldly affair. Because let's face it, most of us are looking for a meaningful life. We are attached to our lives to feel valued. We can incorporate non-doing without going homeless also by being passive about life. It's not always going below the poverty line, as you might have thought. Make an intentional effort to be aware of the natural life around you, understand your true self, and be content with yourself. If you are one of those who set up goals, who wants to achieve, go ahead and do that. Okay, until you get burnt out, because until you have burnt out, until you have realized that there is literally no meaning in all that, you should keep doing it. Don't have any regrets. Mind it is a daily affirmation if you decide the non-doing path. if you decide to take the non-doing path, because the modern world is filled with constant stimulations and distractions. The rise of clutter forces the need for change. We get overwhelmed and desire to simplify our lives. But it is also a desire-driven action, meaning a reaction. Minimalism and decluttering is a mindful practice which will help you in non-doing. If you want to try it, go ahead. Another thing to keep in mind is that non-doing will set you free and you will be more vulnerable. And that's why you need daily affirmations to stay on track, because accepting freedom that comes with non-doing is not easy as you think. It is much easier to stay in the game and compete. This is BB Flower signing off. Until next time, bye-bye.